welcome to video number 1 of the King of POP, the reign of the Moonwalker series. I bet you remember the famous choreographer that worked with Michael Jackson on the Thriller music video. Michael Peters was a very influential choreographer that worked with many famous artists, including Donna Summer and Madonna. But his work on Thriller was definitely his most iconic. He helped to create some of the most memorable dance sequences in music video history. Still on Thriller, Michael Jackson's Thriller girlfriend, Ola Ray, played the role of his date in the Thriller music video. She was chosen after a long casting process, and she became an overnight sensation after the video was released. She even starred in a few movies and TV shows after that, but her role in Thriller will always be her most famous role. There have been so many great covers of Michael Jackson's songs over the years. Some of the most famous covers include Billie Jean by Fall Out Boy, Smooth Criminal by Alien Ant Farm, Man in the Mirror by Demi Lovato, Wanna Be Starting Something by OK Go, and Thriller by Alien Ant Farm. It's amazing to see how different artists have put their own spin on Michael Jackson's classic songs. Blood on the Dance Floor was an album that was released in 1997, 12 years before Michael Jackson's death. It was a compilation of remixes of Michael Jackson's songs from the H.I. Story album. The album also included some new material, like the title track Blood on the Dance Floor. It was a huge success, selling over 6 million copies worldwide. His last album, Michael, was released posthumously in 2010. It was a collection of unreleased songs that were found in the vault after his death. Even in death, Michael Jackson's music continues to live on and inspire new generations of artists. Facts about the Blood on the Dance Floor album. The song Morphine was actually written about the pain medication that Michael Jackson was taking for his chronic pain. The song is a dark and haunting track that reflects the turmoil that Michael Jackson was going through at the time. It's a powerful song that is still relevant today. Here's another interesting tidbit about Blood on the Dance Floor. The album was originally going to be called H.I. Story Continues, but Michael Jackson decided to change the name at the last minute. He felt that the album was a completely new concept and deserved its own title. It's fascinating to see how even the smallest details of an album can be so significant. The Blood on the Dance Floor album was originally going to include a song called Al Capone. The song was co-written by Michael Jackson and was going to be a collaboration with rapper Ice Cube, but the song was ultimately cut from the album. It's just one example of the many unreleased songs that Michael Jackson recorded over the years. Did you know that Blood on the Dance Floor was originally going to be a completely different album? Michael Jackson had originally planned to release a High Story Roman 2 album, but his record label convinced him to release a remix album instead. So, Blood on the Dance Floor was created by remixing and reworking songs from the H.I. Story album. It's amazing to see how the album evolved over time. How about this? Blood on the Dance Floor contains a sample from the song Dracula by the rock band Iggy Pop. The sample is used in the song Ghosts, which is a spooky track about being haunted by the past. The use of the sample adds an extra layer of creepiness to the song. It's just one example of how Michael Jackson was always experimenting with different sounds and styles. Did you know that Blood on the Dance Floor also contains a sample from the movie Cape Fear? The song Morphine uses a line from the movie in which Robert De Niro's character says, "I got the shakes that'll make you quake." It's a really cool and subtle nod to the movie. Michael Jackson was always finding inspiration in unexpected places. The song Morphine features a guest appearance by the rapper Coolio. He provides the rap verses on the song, adding a different style and sound to the track. It's a really interesting collaboration, and it shows how Michael Jackson was always willing to experiment with different artists and genres. The cover art for Blood on the Dance Floor was designed by an artist named Brett Livingstone Strong. He was given the concept of dancing on the ceiling to work with, and he created a design that features a dancer upside down in a starry sky. It's a really beautiful and visually striking cover that captures the feeling of the album. Also, Michael's hands seem to be positioned at 9 and 11 on the clock on the cover of Blood on the Dance Floor. This has led to a lot of speculation and conspiracy theories about the meaning behind the imagery. Some people believe that it's a reference to the 9/11 attacks, but this has never been confirmed by Michael Jackson or his team. The red suit that Michael Jackson wears on the cover of Blood on the Dance Floor is actually a reference to the movie The Man with the Red Hat. It's a reference that might be a bit obscure for some fans, but it's a clever and subtle nod to one of Michael Jackson's favorite films. The red suit also stands out against the blue and purple colors of the cover, making it a striking and eye-catching image. It's still your Snoop Doggy Dog on the microphone, asking you to please subscribe to our YouTube channel at ShareMeFameNG. Also like, comment, share, and hit the notification button, as there is so much daily entertainment here you can't afford to miss. Welcome to video number 2 of the King of Pop, The Reign of the Moonwalker series. Michael Jackson was offered the role of the Scarecrow in the big-budget film adaptation of The Wizard of Oz in 1978. This movie, which starred Diana Ross as Dorothy, was titled The Wiz. Michael Jackson almost turned down this role because he was already busy working on his solo album, Off the Wall. This was actually Michael Jackson's first acting role, and it earned him an award nomination for his role. Michael Jackson's contract with Sony was almost up, and he was not ready to renegotiate due to his running battle with Tommy Mottola. He was planning on continuing with his personal record label MGJ Record after the This Is It concert and album. In addition, the Sony catalog he bought was frightening, making him too powerful. There are speculations that the media hound, police intimidation, body search, and the rest were asked by the establishment to peg the black ceiling. Michael Jackson had a real appreciation for great guitarists, and he always wanted to work with the best. He worked with a number of incredible top-class solo guitarists over the course of his career. These were talents like Eddie Van Halen on recommendation from Pete Townsend of the Who Band, who played the iconic guitar solo on Beat It for Free. Steve Lukather of Toto, who played on Human Nature and the rhythm riff track on Beat It. Lee Reitner, who played on Human Nature. Jeff Beck, who played on Dirty Diana. David Williams, who played on Billie Jean / of Guns N' Roses, who played on Give In To Me in Black or White. Steve Stevens, who played on the Bad track in Dirty Diana. Paul Jackson Jr. PYT. Did It, Dirty Diana, Lady in My Life. Etc. These guitarists helped to create some of the most memorable songs of Jackson's career. Who was better? Slash or Eddie Van Halen? Slash of Guns N' Roses played the iconic guitar solo on the Black or White song, which has been called one of the best guitar solos of all time. Slash's work on the song helped to give it its rock edge, and he was a key part of its success. The song was a huge hit, reaching number 1 on the Billboard Hot 100 chart. It's a tough question. Both solos are incredibly iconic and have left a lasting impact on music. However, I would say that Eddie Van Halen's solo on Beat It is slightly more iconic. It was a groundbreaking solo that pushed the boundaries of what was possible on the guitar. It has been praised by critics and fans alike, and it is widely considered one of the greatest guitar solos of all time. It's hard to choose between two such amazing solos. They are both incredible pieces of music, and I think it's worth noting that both Slash and Eddie Van Halen were huge fans of Michael Jackson's music. In fact, Slash has said that Jackson was one of his biggest musical influences. He even has a tattoo of Jackson's Thriller album cover on his arm. Who was the best amongst Michael's guitarists? Tough to judge. Slash gave life to the Black or White single. Steve Stevens, the string maestro on the Bad single, was the bomb. Eddie Van Halen's solo guitar in the Beat It single redefined the sound. Every other guitarist that was honored to grace the Michael Jackson collaboration was great. They have very different styles. Slash is known for his hard rock sound, while Stevens is known for his pop rock sound. However, the guitar solo in Beat It is often considered to be one of the greatest of all time. I'd say the Beat It solo is a little bit better than the Black or White solo. The jury is still out on this, but the iconic pose on the Thriller album cover was actually inspired by a scene from the movie An American Werewolf in London. In the movie, the main character is attacked by a werewolf and falls into a similar pose. Michael Jackson saw the scene and thought it would make a great album cover. He was definitely right, but the actual photography was done by photographer Dick Zimmerman, with Mikhail in a white suit belonging to the photographer. The Bad album cover was actually inspired and based on a painting by the artist Gottfried Helmsley. Michael Jackson saw the painting and loved it, so he asked the artist to create the cover for the album. The painting is called Deadly Kiss, and it shows a young boy and girl with zombie-like faces. It's a really striking image, and it definitely captured the dark and creepy vibe of the Bad album. So, Gottfried Helmsley created the Bad album cover from this painting, showing Michael Jackson in a black jacket with a chain hanging from his neck. The background is black, and there's a small splash of red at the bottom of the cover. It's a really striking image that definitely captures the dark and edgy vibe of the Bad album. The cover art for Bad was shot by the famous photographer Annie Leibovitz. She's well known for her portraits of celebrities, and she's even taken the official portrait of every U.S. president since Richard Nixon. That's quite an impressive accomplishment, wouldn't you say? The cover of Michael Jackson's Off the Wall album is actually based on a photo by Michael Salisbury in 1979, who created the metaphor, a look of a young man that had come of age and stepping out as a man on his own. So, he had the tuxedo, the white shirt, gloves and socks. Most of these images remain his trademark logo throughout his career. There was a shift from the Kid Michael and the Jackson group to a more mature Michael and the Wiz. A shocking realization to many that kid was now 21 and was looking like Sinatra walking into the spotlight and applause. The cover of Michael Jackson's Dangerous album was actually a painting by artist Mark Ryden. It shows Michael Jackson with a skeleton's hand on his shoulder and a robotic rat on his lap. The painting is meant to represent the duality of good and evil, and how we all have a little bit of both inside us. Michael Jackson loved the painting and thought it perfectly captured the themes of the Dangerous album. Who taught Michael how to dance? Nobody. It was inherent, but he had influences from James Brown, Fred Astaire, Sammy Davis Jr., Bobby Brown, and Jeffrey Dahmer. The famous tap dancer named Bill Bailey was the first to be recorded doing a precursor of the Moonwalk dance on television in 1943. Michael Jackson saw Bill Bailey perform the move on television, and he decided to incorporate it into his own performances. It quickly became one of his signature dance moves. Remember, this is your man Snoop Dogg. Do you know what time it is? It's time for you to subscribe to our YouTube channel at Sherman Fame NG. Also like, comment, share, and hit the notification button, as there is so much daily entertainment here you can't afford to miss. Welcome to video number 3 of the King of Pop, the Reign of the Moonwalker series. Michael Jackson's third solo album Bad was released in 1987, and it featured the singles Bad, The Way You Make Me Feel, and Smooth Criminal. The album was incredibly successful, and it further established Michael Jackson as a global superstar. Michael and his Bad album were so bad, it was a great chart buster that almost gave the Thriller album a run for its money. The album was recorded at the famous Hit Factory recording studio in New York City. It was a very popular studio, and many other artists recorded there as well, including Bruce Springsteen, Madonna, and Cyndi Lauper. Why did Prince reject the Bad song? Let's look at some trivia facts about the singles on the Bad album. This includes Bad, The Way You Make Me Feel, and Smooth Criminal. Now, let's start with Bad. The song was originally written for the famous musician Prince, but he turned it down. Michael Jackson then rewrote the lyrics and made it his own song. Quite fascinating that the two great stars of that era were, in the public eyes, sworn rivals with opposing Pepsi and Coca-Cola brands sponsoring them. In private, they were close enough to share songs. The next single on the Bad album is The Way You Make Me Feel. The song features backing vocals from the famous group the Pointer Sisters. Anita Marie Pointer, Jill Pointer, Ruth Pointer, and Ruth Pointer were known for their hit songs I'm So Excited, Fired, and Jump for My Love. They added a unique flavor to Michael's song, and their contribution helped to make it a hit. No pun intended, but that the Pointer Sisters were on the backup was a pointer to the fact that we were going to have a great song. They made us feel really good with their voices. The third single on the Bad album is Smooth Criminal. The song features a distinctive vocal hiccup during the chorus. Michael Jackson actually learned this technique from a famous sketch singer named Al Jarreau. Michael Jackson was inspired by the way Jarreau used his voice, and he decided to incorporate it into his own music. And I was going to ask if you remember Al Jarreau, but I won't, because you most probably saw an episode or two of Moonlighting, starring Sybil Shepherd and Bruce Willis. Al Jarreau wrote and sang the movie soundtrack. These are the little things that made Michael Jackson an inspiration to fellow artists like Justin Timberlake, Usher, and Bruno Mars, who have all cited Michael Jackson as a major influence on their works. It's amazing to see how Michael Jackson's legacy has been passed on to the next generation of artists. Let's move on to Michael Jackson's fourth solo album, Dangerous. Did you know that Michael Jackson collaborated with the famous rapper Heavy D on the song Jam? The song also features Teddy Riley as pioneer of the new jack swing sound genre, which combined elements of hip-hop and R&B. Another interesting fact about Dangerous is that the song Gone Too Soon was dedicated to Ryan White, a 13-year-old child who was battling AIDS as a result of blood transfusion. Michael Jackson met Ryan at a hospital, and he was so moved by his story that he decided to write a song about him. Still on fact about the Dangerous album, the song Black or White features a number of guest artists, including Slash from the band Guns N' Roses. Slash played the guitar solo on the song, and he's considered one of the greatest guitarists of all time. The song Will You Be There was originally written for the movie Free Willy. However, Michael Jackson decided to keep the song for his own album instead. Will You Be There went on to become one of the most popular songs on the album. Still on facts about the Dangerous album, did you know that Dangerous was Michael Jackson's first album to be released on the CD-ROM? The CD-ROM version featured multimedia content, including interviews, photos, and music videos. It was a pretty innovative release for the time. It's actually a very diverse album, with songs that incorporate a variety of genres. Jam is a funk song, Remember the Time is a New Jack Swing song, Given to Me is a hard rock song, and Will You Be There is a gospel song. It's pretty amazing that one album can contain so many different sounds. Some of the trivia and fun facts about the H.I. Story album are really interesting. It's actually a double album, with one disc of new material and one disc of greatest hits. The new material is quite political, with songs like Earth Song and They Don't Care About Us. And the greatest hits disc features some of Michael Jackson's most iconic songs, like Billie Jean and Thriller. It's a very powerful and significant album. It was his story to tell, and he did a God work of expressing it. The music video for Scream, a song from the H.I. Story album, was actually the most expensive music video ever made at the time. It cost a whopping $7 million to produce. Michael Jackson really went all out for that. Yes, Scream was a duet with Michael Jackson's sister, Janet Jackson. They both appear in the video, and they really put on a show. The video was a big production, with elaborate costumes and sets. It's definitely worth checking out. H.I. Story was Michael Jackson's first album to feature production credits from R. Kelly. He worked on the song You Are Not Alone, which was a huge hit. It's pretty amazing to think about the collaborations that happened on this album. One of the most fascinating things about the H.I. Story album is that it was originally going to be titled H.I. Story, Past, Present, and Future, but God. This would have implied that there would be a second volume, but it never materialized. It's interesting to think about what might have been. H.I. Story is actually the first album Michael Jackson released after he was accused of child sexual abuse. The album was partly his response to those allegations, and several of the songs addressed the controversy. It's a fascinating time in his career, and the album reflects that. The album is notable for its use of samples. In fact, the song H.I. Story contains over 50 samples from other songs. It's really impressive how Michael Jackson and his team were able to weave so many different sounds into one cohesive piece of music. Kindly subscribe to our YouTube channel at ShareMeFameNG. Also like, comment, share, and hit the notification button, as there is so much daily entertainment here you can't afford to miss. Welcome to video number 4 of the King of Pop, the Reign of the Moonwalker series. Next is Michael Jackson's last studio album, Michael. The cover of this album was actually a painting by artist Caddy and Nels. It shows Michael Jackson surrounded by children with a dove in his hand. The painting was meant to represent his ups and downs in life, the hope and peace, and it was a fitting tribute to Michael Jackson's legacy. Michael was released after Michael Jackson's death in 2009. It's a collection of previously unreleased songs, and it was meant to be a celebration of his life and work. The album was well received by fans, and it gave them a chance to hear some of Michael Jackson's unreleased material. The H.I. Story tour had a very unique wardrobe. Michael Jackson worked with a designer named Francis Lebrun to create a special outfit that was inspired by 18th century French military uniforms. It was a really striking and memorable look. The H.I. Story tour set a record for the highest grossing tour by a solo artist. The tour made over $165 million, which was a huge amount of money at the time. Michael Jackson really knew how to put on his show. The H.I. Story track was not a duet, but it does feature backing vocals from a number of artists, including Slash, Lenny Kravitz, and Shaquille O'Neal. Yes, that's right, the basketball player Shaquille O'Neal. He provides backing vocals on the song, and his deep voice is quite recognizable. Here's a lesser-known fact. The Songwriter song from the H.I. Story album was actually banned in some countries. The song is about environmental issues and social injustice, and it was considered to be too controversial for certain countries. It just goes to show how powerful Michael Jackson's music could be. H.I. Story album features a number of notable guest appearances, including R. Kelly and the aforementioned Shaquille O'Neal. But the most famous guest appearance is probably that of Diana Ross. She sings backing vocals on the song You Are Not Alone, and she also appears in the music video. Before then, they were not on talking terms. Diana Ross and Michael Jackson had a complicated relationship. They were once very close, but they had a falling out in the early 1990s. The duet on H.I. Story marked a reconciliation between the two artists. It's really interesting to see how their relationship evolved over the years. The H.I. Story album was nominated for 10 Grammy Awards. It ended up winning 1 Grammy for Best Music Video, Short Form Screen. It's pretty impressive that the album was nominated for so many awards. It just goes to show how much people love the music. Michael Jackson also performed an extensive world tour to promote the H.I. Story album. The tour was called the H.I. Story World Tour, and it lasted from September 1996 to October 1997. It was the most successful tour of his career, with over 4.5 million people attending the concerts after the bad tour of 4.4 million attenders. The album cover for H.I. Story was shot at the Brandenburg Gate in Berlin. It's a famous landmark that has a lot of historical significance, and Michael Jackson chose it as the backdrop for the album cover to represent the idea of unity and peace. It was planned to be a very powerful image, and they succeeded. Michael was the first artist to have an album debut at #1 on the charts in over 30 countries. This was a huge achievement, showing how popular his music was all over the world. H.I. Story truly made a historic impact on a global scale. Alright, here's something you might not know. Michael Jackson's famous white glove, which he wore during the H.I. Story tour, was actually auctioned off for $350,000. It's now considered a valuable piece of pop culture memorabilia. Michael Jackson impacted the music and fashion industries greatly. Did you also know that Michael Jackson's H.I. Story album was originally going to be called Anger? The album was meant to be a very personal and emotional project, and the title was going to reflect that. But in the end, Michael Jackson decided to change the title to H.I. Story, which he felt was more representative of the album's message. Here's a more lighthearted fact. Michael Jackson's iconic anti-gravity lean move from the Smooth Criminal music video was actually created by an illusionist named Michael J. Weber. He came up with the idea of using a special shoe that had pegs on the bottom, which allowed Michael Jackson to lean forward at an extreme angle. It was actually created by accident. Michael Jackson was working with a choreographer named Vincent Patterson, and they were trying to come up with a new move. When they were experimenting, Michael Jackson leaned forward and almost fell, but he caught himself. That's how the famous move was born. The H.I. Story album featured a song called Stranger in Moscow, which Michael Jackson wrote while he was living in Moscow for a few days. He was inspired by the city and its people, and he wanted to capture that feeling in a song. It's really fascinating to see how travel can influence an artist's work. Did you know that Michael Jackson's H.I. Story tour was the highest grossing tour of all time at the time? It made over $165 million, which was a huge amount of money in the mid-90s. It just goes to show how popular Michael Jackson was at the time. Did you know that the song Little Susie from the H.I. Story album was inspired by a true story? The song is about a girl who was murdered, and it's based on a real-life case that Michael Jackson had read about. He was so moved by the story that he wanted to write a song about it. It's really tragic, but it's also a powerful example of how music can be used to raise awareness about important issues. Michael was very much in tune with his environment and the sufferings that people were going through, so he tried to identify with them. Did you know that the H.I. Story album was one of the first to be released as a super album? This was a new format that combined the greatest hits album with a studio album. It was a way to give fans a bigger and better experience, and it was a big success. H.I. Story set the stage for many other super albums that would follow. The H.I. Story tour was the first tour to use 3D video technology. The cutting-edge technology at the time, allowing fans to experience the concert in a whole new way. H.I. Story album cover was inspired by a painting called The Sleeping Gypsy and created by Henry Rousseau in 1897. Michael Jackson loved the painting and wanted to recreate it for the cover. It's really interesting to see how art can influence other forms of art. The tall statue of Michael on the cover of the H.I. Story album was a life-size sculpture of Michael Jackson, and it was based on the painting The Sleeping Gypsy. The statue was created by artist Diana Walczak, and it took her over a year to complete. It's really an impressive work of art. The H.I. Story tour set a record for the most merchandise sold on a single tour. Over $80 million worth of merchandise was sold during the tour, which is pretty incredible. Michael surrounded himself with the best of the best in both the creative industry and the business side of it. Why sell just music and have one-off customers when you can create other products and give your audience an immersive experience? Ever wondered why so many were fainting at his concerts? Michael was a total and immersive experience. He was not just about the music. Did you know that the H.I. Story tour was also the first tour to use a moving stage? The stage could move in multiple directions, and it could even rotate 360 degrees. It was a really innovative design, and it added a lot of excitement to the concert experience. The tour had a lot of special effects, including a giant animatronic spider that was part of the Thriller segment of the show, and it was controlled by computers. It could move and even shoot sparks. It was a really impressive piece of technology. Kindly subscribe to our YouTube channel at ShareMeFameNG. Also like, comment, share, and hit the notification button, as there is so much daily entertainment here you can't afford to miss. Welcome to video number 5 of the King of Pop, the Reign of the Moonwalker series. Let's talk about Michael Jackson's Invincible album cover. This cover was actually a photo taken by photographer Albert Watts. It shows Michael Jackson standing in front of a blue background with his arms outstretched. The photo was inspired by the paintings of Michelangelo, and it was meant to show Michael Jackson as a modern-day Renaissance man. Some of the songs in Michael were co-written by other famous artists, like Will. Acting. It's fascinating to see how Michael Jackson collaborated with other artists even after his death. Another interesting fact is that the album's lead single, Hold My Hand, features a duet with Act. Here is a simple teasing. Is it true, as some claim, that the Bad and Off the Wall albums are better than the Thriller? The Thriller album outperformed them all. Read that Michael is quoted as saying the disappointment of not getting an award with Off the Wall motivated him to do Thriller. The music video for Hollywood Tonight from the Michael album was directed by Wayne Isham, who has also directed videos for artists like Upho and Green Day. The video for Hollywood Tonight was shot on the street and sidewalk at the front of the Pantages Theater in Hollywood, California, featuring Algerian-born French dancer Sophia Boutella as a young woman arriving Hollywood and vying to become a known dancer. It could never be another Thriller music video, but it was a great offering for a mourning fan base that had lost their idol. Next up is the music video for Behind the Mask. Before I forget, this song happens to be Michael's only song with a saxophone solo and saxophone percussion by Mike Phillips. This video was directed by Mark Walmanek, who has also worked with artists like Jay-Z and Lady Gaga. The video is a tribute to Michael Jackson's love of pop art, and it features a variety of different styles and references. Did you get to see the video? What do you think of it? Let us know your thoughts in the comment section below. Now let's get into some trivia about Michael Jackson. Did you remember that his iconic red jacket from the Thriller music video, the one that looks like any youth that hadn't worn it didn't belong? Yes, that original jacket sold at auction for $1.8 million. It's one of the most expensive pieces of music memorabilia ever sold. It is also on record that the Thriller album is still the best-selling album of all time, with over 100 million copies sold worldwide. What is Michael Jackson's best-selling single of all time? Could it be Thriller, Bad, Black or White? It's actually none of these. The answer is Billie Jean. The song has sold over 10 million copies, making it one of the best-selling singles of all time. And that's not even including the sales from the Thriller album, which is where the song originally appeared. As Michael puts it, to live is to be musical. Starting at the breath, every song has a spirit, and when I hear a song that inspires me, I want to know what that spirit is. Shortly after the release of his global hit album, Thriller, Michael Jackson fired his dad, Joseph Jackson, as his manager of many years. Joseph managed his children and shielded them from the sharks of the entertainment industry, People even feared him for his tough stance. Is it possible that Joe could have prevented the manipulation that Michael Jackson from the entertainment industry, being more experienced and fearless? Michael realized this mistake too late. In 2001, he described his father's harshness to the children as a kind of imperfect love. He pushed them to the limits because he loved them and wanted no man ever to look down at his offspring. Which famous artist once said that Michael Jackson was the greatest entertainer in the history of show business? It was Frank Sinatra. He had a lot of respect for Michael Jackson and even invited him to perform at his 80th birthday celebration. Michael Jackson earned lots of respect from other artists. Who did Michael Jackson refer to as his big brother? The answer is Sammy Davis Jr. The two of them were very close. Sammy Davis Jr. even helped Michael Jackson break into the music industry when he was a child. They had a strong bond that lasted throughout their lives. Michael had a pet chimpanzee named Bubbles. He was given the chimp as a gift from a friend. He became very attached to him. Bubbles even lived with Michael Jackson at Neverland Ranch and traveled with him on tour. He was definitely more than just a pet. He was like a member of the family with his own role. The chimp is a pet now, that's wild. Did you know that Michael Jackson was actually a prolific inventor? He was awarded a total of 5 patents for various inventions, including a special shoe for performing the moonwalk. He was also the co-inventor of a special system for creating anti-gravity effects during live performances. Who knew Michael Jackson was such a creative mind? Did you know that Michael Jackson holds the record for the most Grammy nominations ever? He was nominated for a total of 39 Grammys throughout his career, and he won 13 of them. That's pretty amazing, considering there are so many talented musicians out there. Can you name the actor who played Michael Jackson's bodyguard in the Thriller music video? The answer is Vincent Price. He's best known for his work in horror films, but he also had a small role in the iconic music video. He even spoke the famous line, "I'm warning you, don't look behind you." That's right. Vincent Price's cameo appearance in the Thriller music video was actually his idea. He was a fan of Michael Jackson's music, and he wanted to be a part of the video. He even did his own makeup and costume for the role. Talk about dedication. So, you know that the songwriter and producer, Rod Temperton, wrote 2 songs on the Thriller album, namely Thriller and Baby Be Mine. I bet you there is something you might not know about the Smooth Criminal song. The famous bass line in the song was actually played by a synclavier, which is a type of digital synthesizer. Michael Jackson wanted the bass line to sound like a real bass guitar, but he didn't want to use a real instrument. So, he had the bass line programmed into the synclavier instead. If you listen to the intro of Beat It, the gong is also replayed from a synclavier as recorded by sound designer Danny Yeager. The synclavier was also used to program the opening keyboard sound of the Thriller song. It's a perfect example of creative genius. Kindly subscribe to our YouTube channel at ShareMeFameNG. Also like, comment, share, and hit the notification button as there is so much daily entertainment here you can't afford to miss.